And people started to speculate and believe that we had left our children alone in their staterooms. And that is just completely untrue because we had someone with our children at all times on this boat, period.
I can see where my story did lead to misunderstanding.
So was all this rage bait or a misunderstanding? In my last video, we talked about how Abby posted about them FaceTiming two baby monitors while they ate dinner on a cruise ship, and lots of people assumed that it meant that their 1 and 2-year-olds were left alone in the room, so they were getting a lot of backlash for it. But then a few days later, they came out with an apology video stating that they didn't leave their children alone in the room, and they actually had one of Abby's family members watching the 1 and 2-year-old while they had the monitors on and FaceTimed. Now, some people are upset because they felt like they had waited a few days to say something because the post was rage bait and their TikTok likes and views were low. So even after all of this came out and they apologized, some people still felt that they waited a few days to say something because the post they felt was rage bait. This boosted their account back. As you can see in the clip, the difference between their likes and to their apology video to their videos that they made right before all of this had came out. The apology video almost has 1 million likes while their last videos have like 30k likes, 60k. One was over 100k, but it is nowhere near what it was for the apology video. And they are also accusing them of having a mod or someone on there or themselves deleting mean comments because nearly every comment underneath the post is nice. Now you guys may say like they probably do have a lot of supporters, people love them and stuff. Like, yes, that is right. There are definitely people who are clearly on their side. They seem like real people who are on their side. But we know the fact that people are even talking about this, people are reprimanding Matt and Abby for it. So someone has to be saying something mean in the comments, and it's not there. That's suspicious. And also the likes to the comment ratio is very off. How do you almost have 1 million likes but your comments are only like 1,000, 2,000? But I digress. So Matt, he seems pretty chill about it, but Abby, she seems like a ball of anxiety just by looking at her face and her eyes. They look very sad. Now, body language isn't everything, but you can tell that she does not feel happy at all. Now, you can definitely say that influencers do not owe anyone or anything any explanations. Yes, you're right. However, if influencing is your job, then you have to be ready for any and everything that comes with it because the internet is the internet. And if you're posting something that sounds like you're neglecting your kids, it is much easier to say that it was a misunderstanding or misinterpreted because of XYZ rather than being vague and hoping that that is enough for people to get off your back. Unfortunately, the internet is not that nice. Basically, you are posting your lives to others because you want people to follow what you're doing. You want them to pay attention to what you're doing in your life. Then you have to be ready for any and everything that comes with it. And people in the comments, they might be going in and saying that, oh, well, people don't have to do this. They don't have to do that. They do not. But if you have a platform, especially a platform with millions, there are all different types of personalities in the comments. There's all different types of people that follow you. Not everyone is going to know boundaries of saying that you don't have to tell me this, you don't have to tell me that. But it's better than to have people guessing about it and now you're getting lots of hate. But then again, they do not have to care nor explain themselves. Just in case people try to come for me in the comments, but if you make your livelihood off of telling people about your lives 24/7, be prepared for people to be invasive and ask questions. And if you're not answering them well, they're going to keep asking more questions. There are reasons why people think Matt and Abby are lying.
I'm going to share my opinion on the controversy going on between Matt and Abby because I feel like a lot of people are skipping over this very important piece of information. For those of you who don't know, Matt and Abby's a couple on TikTok. They have 2 kids under 2, and the controversy is that they essentially set up 2 baby monitors, FaceTimed the baby monitors, and left both of their kids under 2 alone on a cruise ship while they went to dinner, or at least that's all the information they gave us in the beginning until they posted an apology video stating that they were being babysat the whole time. Here's my issue with that. When you posted the very little information about what was going on inside of that cruise ship, you were essentially rage baiting that you left your 2 kids under 2 alone in a room while you went to dinner. You chose to leave out the very important pieces of information to gain more views, and apology or not, I think that's a sick and twisted way of exploiting not only your children, but yourselves. Because believe it or not, you don't have to post every single minute of your entire life on social media. So no, I don't feel bad for how I felt when I first saw the first video, and I still don't feel bad, and I think with or without an apology, this was not a cool way to go about this entire situation. If anything, the whole thing could have gone unrecorded and everybody would have been fine. As long as what you said in your apology was true and that both of your children were being watched, it really would not have been a big deal, as long as it never hit the internet. And you have no right to be mad at the public when they make assumptions and fill in the blanks for you when you post something like that. So, that's my opinion.
So Matt and Abby came out with a response video, and I'm going to talk about it. But here's just a few red flags that I've found with this story. You were FaceTiming monitors that are in a blackout tent, right? But there were people or someone was with your children while you went out for dinner after they fell asleep. Did I get that right? So if they already watched their children in their blackout tents, even at home, on a monitor, why weren't the people that were watching, or whoever was watching their children, also watching the monitors? And another red flag is, how are you FaceTiming a monitor? It sounds like there were multiple phones there. And if what it really is that they were FaceTiming whoever was watching their children's phone, why didn't she say that in her story? I think that they are backtracking and they realize that this doesn't look very good, so they are making a video apologizing to everyone who cares about their children more than they do. I don't know them personally, but I don't put it past them. Something happens to people where they feel untouchable and like they can do whatever they want because they have a large following. And I think that's what happened here. They thought this was going to get lots of attention, lots of likes, lots of engagement, and they really thought this was going to be a good hack for other parents to be like, oh my god, what a great idea. But then they had to quickly come back and tell us, no, someone was watching our children. What do you guys think? I'm very curious. Do you believe them or do you not believe them?
So Matt and Abby's video on the baby monitor situation actually raises more questions rather than answers. So first, Matt does his piece where he says that they would never leave the babies alone. They would never leave them unattended. But he doesn't name who was with them, which several people have pointed out. So he says Abby's extended family was on the trip. We would never leave them alone. But he doesn't say Aunt Sally, Mima, Uncle Jim, our 12-year-old niece, the person who teaches baby aerobics on the ship. He doesn't actually say who is staying with the kids, where usually if someone was like, well, who was watching your children, you'd name the babysitter. And again, it's like a very constructed apology is how it comes off, because he's giving his statement, and then as he's discussing that the children wouldn't be left unattended, Abby speaks over him, so that the natural thing could be like, oh, well, that's the point of the story that he was telling, but then Abby started to talk about the story in the baby tents. The baby tents is the next thing that makes zero sense why the people outside of the room would have the monitor. And also, Abby's explainer of the baby tent makes it really surprising that whoever was primarily watching the children wouldn't have the monitors, and here's why. If you had a normal crib or bassinet situation where when a baby is kind of like squirming and worming and making noises, you can just look and see, oh, they're in light sleep, I'm gonna let them work it out, versus like, oh, they need something. Their pacifier fell out of their mouth, they're stuck, God forbid, they're twisted in their blanket, whatever the case may be. Like, if a baby is out in the open, you can see when you're watching them why they're making noises. When she explains, like, we have monitors on our babies because they're intense, so if they make a noise, you don't know why, then the babysitter needs the monitors because they're the person in the room charged with their care. So if the baby starts crying and you don't want them to unzip the tents and wake them up unnecessarily, but you want them to make sure that they're safe, then the babysitter has to be the one looking at the monitors. Every single note of this apology was carefully constructed. From the fact that he said the babies weren't unattended, but he didn't say who, to the discussion of the tents, to the discussion of why she took the stories down later just because she didn't want to cause confusion. Even the whole part of the video where they thanked people for loving their babies enough to make these videos, which was a really smart way to curry favor and get people to stop making critique videos. But it's suspect. Like, it just doesn't add up.
At this point, we're never going to know if those kids were actually alone in the room or not. Here are my final thoughts on the whole Matt and Abby cruise situation. The minute she posted to her stories, she started to receive messages of concern. She left it up a few hours and then she deleted it. And a lot of people are like, well, what was she supposed to do? She was on vacation. Clarify right away. Yes, that's exactly what she was supposed to do. This is their job. This is their livelihood, content creation, influencing. They know exactly what they're doing. So either way, whether the kids were left alone, she posted it, realized she was getting all this backlash and decided to delete it and then waited 3 days to address it, or she did that on purpose for clickbait and rage views. She strategically alluded and insinuated to the fact that those kids were alone. It's wrong. It's ick. She should have clarified immediately on Instagram. Someone in the comments pointed out that when you're rage baiting, bad press is good press. If that's true, why are they deleting comments? Waiting days to clarify and then having a somewhat seemingly scripted video. I don't know Abby in real life, but her body language was very telling for me. She looked extremely anxious and upset. They're also deleting and filtering and blocking comments. If you're innocent, answer your viewers' questions. If you're innocent, leave the comments there unless they're hateful or rude. And finally, why not specify who was in the room? Because there were cruise goers that are over on Reddit right now saying, I was on this cruise, ha ha ha. They know that if they say Aunt Helga was in the room with our children and someone has a picture or video of them at dinner that night and Aunt Helga's sitting there, they're caught.
I think that Matt and Abby might have orchestrated this entire thing. After watching the video they just posted clarifying that someone was actually in the room with the kids at all times, if that was actually the truth, what other reason would they have to let this go so far? The only two options are you did it for the likes and the clicks and the views, or you needed the extra time to figure out your story. CPS was being thrown around. Mandel McCann was brought up. And like the thesis of your response was, thank you so much for like all of your real concern for my child. I really appreciate it. I know it was coming from like a real place. Like if you felt that way, why not calm, their nerves earlier? Why wait so long to clarify? Things simply aren't adding up, in my humble opinion. If people were threatening to call animal control and take my pets away, you bet I'd be making some clarifications rather quickly. My literal children? I don't know. This could have been over like an hour after it started if she had just posted that clarification immediately when she took down that video. I need receipts, I need timelines, I need evidence.
Okay, these are my final thoughts on Matt and Abby cruise baby monitor situation. So let me just start by saying my thoughts don't matter because everybody is going to believe what they're going to believe. That's totally fine. They made a statement. I attached the statement to my last video, so you can go watch it there. Let me just start by saying people who were concerned for the livelihood of children, there's nothing to feel ashamed about. I am not regretful for my videos, and Abby herself even came on and thanked people for being concerned about her children. And honestly, I applaud her for saying that because that's exactly how a mother should feel. If your kids are in the line of danger, you would hope that people would speak up on behalf of your babies. And that's exactly what we did. So I really applaud her for saying that in this statement. With that said, here are my thoughts. Number one, I do not understand making your fan base wait 2 days to make a comment or a statement regarding something that had to do with the safety of your children. I would have immediately commented on something like this the night that I deleted the Instagram and would have seen people kind of coming forward and saying, hey, that was really scary. If it was that simple and that easy, why not say it right away? Why make this big production and do this like sit down interrogation type of video if it was just as simple as being like, oh no, Granny was here the whole time? My second thought is it was shared on Instagram like a hack. Like she was saying she wanted to give her reviews of traveling, and this was presented as if it was a hack. And I simply do not understand why it would have been put on Instagram in that form if this was not something she was like proud of. Because again, there was no context given. So nobody was going to know why they were FaceTiming their kids unless they left them. Okay, the other thing was that in the Instagram story, she was also sharing that the monitors don't work up to 10 feet away. And I'm not sure what that would have, like why that would be included in the Instagram story, unless she thought that the hack was letting people know like, hey, your monitors aren't going to work, so you're going to have to FaceTime. I don't understand including that the monitors won't work 10 feet away from the room. Also on Instagram, they said that they had to book ahead 4 time slots for dinner. And by the time that they had gone to register, a lot of the time slots had been selected. But if family was staying back with the kids, why would that matter? They could literally go to dinner anytime. And next, they stated that they like to watch their kids on monitors regardless of who is watching them. But I find that extremely strange, and here is why. They wanted to watch their family members watching their children on FaceTime. But they stated in multiple Instagram stories that they were really counting on the kids club to watch the kids. And they had sent them there for several days in a row. And that's what ultimately led them to not being able to use kids club anymore because the kids were not happy. So what's strange to me is that they felt uncomfortable not watching their kids on the monitor when family was watching them, but felt totally comfortable sending them to kids club with strangers watching them. Why would they need to watch their kids on FaceTime with family members watching them, but not watch them on FaceTime or on monitors while they were in the kids club? I just thought that their mannerisms in this statement was a little bit strange. They were both looking at each other. They weren't making eye contact with the camera, and it just felt a little off. It felt like every time he talked, she was looking at him, and every time she talked, he was looking at her. They really went about this the wrong way, and they waited way too long to address the issue. And so hopefully from here, they learn.
First one is from her first post before she posted about the baby monitors. This post said, our game plan was to play all day with the kids and then let them hang out in the kids club, while the adults went to the formal dining, as long nice dinners is not designed for them. They were gonna hang out at the kids club so the adults can go eat. Okay. Well, you need to book ahead if your child is under 3, and pretty much all of the dinner slots were already booked before I could get to the nursery and hour after boarding. So this second one sounds like they were not able to get the slots. Okay, and they weren't able to get the slots for them to go eat, and they said that the adults went to a formal dining. So it sounds like they wanted to take the kids to the babysitting club, but all the slots were full. But if they could take them to the babysitting club, the adults would go eat dinner. So from this, people are saying if you planned on being okay with sending them to the cruise ship daycare without monitors, why do the kids need a monitor if they're in a room with a trusted family member? Now, people are saying, well, I done this with my kids, even when I had a trusted family member or my husband was watching them. Yeah, okay, I understand. But if you were going to be fine with sending them to the kids club without a monitor, without any supervision that, to my knowledge, that they can do, you're basically trusting them with strangers. You're fine with doing that if that was available. But with a family member, you need to have them monitored. And so did this family member not be able to go eat with them? They were just the one that was left out watching the babies. And overall, her coming out with the post where she states how they switched their dinner time to after the baby's bedtime and FaceTime the monitors while they ate, and the monitors only worked within 10 feet. She has given a lot of information that's making it sound like she's leaving the babies in the room. She has the monitors and she's going to FaceTime them, and she's making it seem like it's okay because they're going to be away, but the monitors are being FaceTimed. It comes off like she's trying to show a lifestyle hack or something. I don't see any other reason as to why she would state it in a way that sounds like the children are alone. She definitely could have added into that the kids are with grandma, they're with auntie, anyone, whoever was watching them. And if they weren't alone, a quick caption of my mom was also with them, calm down, that literally would have been enough. I feel like having a whole apology video is much more work than just saying my mom was let them chill out. Because apology video, you have to think about what you want to say. You have to make sure it sounds right. You have to make sure you look right when you say. Like, it's just too much. And also another part I didn't get is why they would FaceTime the monitor. If you could just point whatever tablet, iPad, iPod, whatever is FaceTiming the monitor, why can't you just point it at the kid? Why are you using FaceTime to film something else that's filming your kid when you could just point it at the kid? I don't get it. But in the end, just tell me, you guys, your thoughts on it. I feel like they just kind of messed up. My opinion doesn't really matter much. I feel like they did leave the kids in there, but now they're trying to backtrack. Thank goodness their kids are okay and such, but if you just effed up, you just effed up. So let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and thank you for watching. Bye.